Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. We're going to talk about some of the political fallout. Now, I just want to... You heard my protest before we went to the break, and I just want to reiterate what the actual constitutional duty of the Senate is, and that is to advise and consent. That doesn't mean consent to whoever, but it doesn't mean that you have the right to deny stuff. That's not what that means. It means that you have to advise and consent. Confirming a nomination, or whatever it happens to be, is not necessarily a protest vote against the president, although it's been used that way. And when we talk about Robert Bork, all this stuff about Robert Bork, aside from the fact that he's responsible for the Saturday Night Massacre and the Nixon scandal, number one. Number two, no one says he wasn't a qualified guy, but he had other problems, and I believe he didn't even get out of the Judiciary Committee, so there was no vote on the floor. This is what they're saying is that, hey, we're not going to even let this happen. We're not going to let a vote happen whatsoever. And the very just dumb way, because the people decide. The people decide, as if the 2012 election didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And
well, there's a lot of us wish it hadn't.
Right, but over on my side of the political spectrum, we deal in reality, not in you.
You mean like unicorns and pixie dust
or Jesus? I guess I don't know.
Oh, dude,
you got me fired up.
Go there.
You got me fired up, buddy.
You did just go there.
Anyway,
we need to go to commercial break so I can throw a beating down on Blake over here.
That's very Christian of you.
Yes, yes, it is.
But, so
Gird your loins, buddy.
The political fallout, and so my claim at the beginning of the segment was that the Republicans do this at their peril. And I don't think that there's much argument about that, in the sense that every time the Republicans have stood up and said we're not going to do something, they just get pummeled in public opinion polls.
Well, they do, because they have the vast left-wing media tearing them down. The Democrats' position is spend, 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 and tax, tax, tax. And people seem to buy that. And the problem is when you try to stand by your principles, and you have an entire industry geared to tear them down, you run the risk.
What happened to personal responsibility, pal?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what did happen to it. Bernie Sanders is leading in the polls because, millennials don't understand the definition of socialism.
I was just saying, rather than blame this mythical vast left-wing conspiracy in the media, maybe take a look at your own ideas and take some personal responsibility for the crap that you've been spewing out there for 30, 40 years. I'm just saying,
taking personal responsibility is crap. Well, I'm glad we have a liberal that finally admitted, we think personal responsibility is crap. Anyway,
that's not what I said, though.
That's exactly what you said.
No, I said you take personal responsibility for the garbage ideas you've been spewing out for 30, 40 years.
They're not garbage ideas.
Then you can give up on this idea.
They're ideas that get co-opted by the Clintons and the Dems all the time.
Then you can maybe get something done on your side of the aisle. But tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why the Republicans are going to come out of this any better than they have in the past.
It depends on which Republican. And that's the truth. If it's Trump or Bush that comes out of here on top, and they happen to actually win the election, and trust me, I don't think either one of their chances of actually winning the full vote election are going to be all that great. But if they happen to win it, they're going to be the beneficiaries of this. They're going to say, hey, we did everything the right way. The establishment, or for Bush, the establishment Republicans talked. Trump's going to be able to get up there and say, see, even though the Republicans are obstructionist, now we get to appoint somebody a little bit more moderate. The people it's going to hurt is the conservatives, Cruz and Rubio. If one of them manages to get into the presidency, whoever they nominate is going to be facing an uphill fight, even if the Republicans retain the Senate, which looks like it's a possible thing to do. And the problem is there's going to be so much backlash against people not allowing the process to work itself out. Don't get me wrong. I think Democrats have obstructed a lot in the past. It's politics. But in this particular case, you're talking about a president who, even though his policies might not be as popular as he is still on a personal level wildly popular.
Yep.
So here it is. He's going to be able to generate all that goodwill that people have towards him. They may not like what he does, but at least people like him. At least they respect him for standing up for what he believes, unlike establishment Republicans.
Right now, I believe he's got a similar approval rating to Ronald Reagan in his last year in office. I believe about 47%, because even Ronald Reagan in those last few years was not super popular.
No,
I might be, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Obama's at 47, and I believe that Ronald Reagan, the only guy that had majority support going out of office was Bill Clinton at the and in 2000.
Thanks to Newt Gingrich.
I'm fairly certain of that. But anyway, it's going to be really cool over the spring and the summer to watch all this play out is you have a Senate. Going back to your point about who this really hurt, I think that the Republicans are taking an awful gamble, are taking an awful gamble that they're going to win the general election and be able to nominate this seat by obstructing it now. Because what happens if a Hillary, or for your sake, God forbid, a Bernie Sanders is nominated or is elected and is inaugurated on January 20th, 2017? Right now, Barack Obama has the incentive to nominate somebody who's palatable enough to be able to make it through, so that it doesn't become a gigantic political fight throughout the summer that distracts from the general election. Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
So say that on a wave of bitterness towards the Republicans, Hillary Clinton wins the election and is inaugurated and she has all this Democratic political capital. The base is riled up. The base wants something. You're going to get a extra liberal nomination right off the bat. And I think there's a bigger risk of that actually coming true than there is a conservative like a Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, although Rubio less so, winning the general election, being able to nominate.
Let me flip this around.
Yeah.
One, you think that President Obama is ever going to nominate somebody who's going to be palatable to the Republicans?
He did twice already. Sotomayor and Elena Kagan.
That's honest to goodness. Those aren't palatable to Republicans.
Then why'd they vote for him?
Because they're boneheads. Two, they're trying to get stuff done. Number two, what better way to stick it to Republicans than to nominate somebody really ultra liberal and then point to the Republicans during this presidential race and go, see, they're obstructionists. See, they're not going to do this. It's much simpler just to say we're not going to do it and then just let it flow, because Americans have short attention span.
Not about this.
If there's a nomination that will continue to make front page news every time a Republican candidate or Republican in general, senator or congressman, protests against this nomination, this is just a great way to really dig at the people that are running for president on the Republican side.
If I'm telling you,
there's nothing.
I think we agree about this. If you're a Republican running for president who's trying to craft a narrative that gets him to the nomination in August, I think. You want this over as quickly as possible, because every day that this goes on through the spring and into the summer, you're going to be asked about it. It's going to take you off topic. Yeah. It's going to take you off message. You're going to be inundated with this stuff, and you're going to have to defend obstructionism.
It's going to be the same if they're elected, right? If they nominate and they do it quickly, the base is going to be after them. It's a very delicate balancing act for a Republican. For a Democrat, they just get up there and say, yeah, we'll give you free stuff and we'll appoint whoever and stick to our guns, and everybody who's a socialist votes for it. The problem is Republicans have to start convincing people, listen, socialism doesn't work. All these giant government programs doesn't work. And then they're going to be distracted. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. My point is, it doesn't matter what happens from here on out. It's not going to be good news for the Republicans. It won't matter how they handle it. And I think the best way for the Republicans to handle it is to simply say, well, we're going to let whoever wins the next election decide. And then that way, it's fair. Either way, at least you can make that argument. Listen, it's for the next president to decide.
But there is no next president. We have one president at a time.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be the next one.
So why? Why? He still. I mean, that's
because because President Obama, you have this idea President Obama is going to nominate somebody who's going to be likable to the Republicans.
Oh, I don't care if he does not. I'm saying he has incentive to, but he doesn't. He's out.
He won't.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, and that's my point. He doesn't care. He's going to nominate this person, and then it's all on the Republicans. No matter what they do, they're shafted.
Yep.
So it's better to put off the shafting until next year, and that increases your odds.
Maybe for Republicans, but not for Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So
and that's why they're going to put it off. I freely admitted at the beginning this is all politics. What I'm trying to say is if they do that at their peril because if they're going to be seen as obstructionists. What you've said just now is we're going to sit with our arms crossed and not let the business of the country get done. You've seen that twice now in the last couple of years with government shutdowns. How does that work for the Republicans? It doesn't. It doesn't. You guys take beatings every time. We're used to that. And so the bottom line is there's no good way for the Republicans to go.
No, there's not.
There isn't. So what you do is if you're going to have to take a beating, no matter what you do, you at least get to decide where the other person hits you. And that's what Mitch McConnell has decided. We're going to take our chances that we're going to win the presidency and do the obstructionist thing. And if Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan do what they're supposed to do as leaders, they're the ones that are going to be absorbing the blows for the Republican candidates.
I don't see it happening. I see that. Here's what I think is going to happen. I have no picks for who's going to nominate. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories in a second because I know that you've been chomping at the bit to get into it.
Chomp.
But one of my favorite ones is that he's going to resign and have Biden appoint him.
That's a good one.
How could you stand up against that? But I think he's going to nominate somebody here in the next week or so. He's going to put the name out there. He's going to put feelers out there. I guarantee he's already going to the senators with soft states who are in danger of getting turfed out here in the next election. He's going to gather that support. It might not be filibuster proof, but I guarantee the worst thing the Republicans can do now is filibuster this thing because then you're going to have everybody hitting them from both sides. And you're not even letting this person have a chance. Yeah, and there's going to be there's going to be a confirmation. It's probably going to take
nothing good coming from this for the Republicans.
I can see this getting done in 4 months.
I think. Well, and you've been right before. And I would agree with you on that.
Judge Brandeis I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
I just think that the best thing for the Republicans to do is what they've already decided to do and see if they can keep to their guns. Now, we're over 3 minutes on this. We're going to be back right after this break. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. We're going to go over conspiracy theories. This is the best part of the show. Right after this break, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do what we like. Thank you very much.